Mr. Birdie and members of the board, we have several items for board discussion this evening. Our first item is some board policies. At this time, I'll turn it over to Mr. Madden.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Birding, members of the board, there are 3 policies before you, and it's in for board discussion. I think it's on the agenda for approval tonight as well. I'll quickly cover those 3 policies. They're related to each other. One is policy EFF, food sales standards. That is technically a new policy. It kind of splits an old policy, took some wording from an old policy, and has made it a standalone policy, basically stating that we're going to follow the USDA guidelines when it comes to our nutrition program and making sure that we're following all the regulations. And so that's the standards that are set forth in USDA. It doesn't go through all those standards. It highlights some of the pieces that need to be in place for that. Those are pieces that we have been continuously implementing since schools have provided school lunches. I will tell you that the updates from USDA are continuous, but we've always made sure that we do our best to be compliant, learn, and implement what is expected. Policy EF/EFB is kind of a continuation in terms of food management and the free and reduced lunch services that we offer there, talking about the types of lunches that we need to provide. Talks about if we have a summer meal program, we have to have one if we have a state mandated remedial program. Discusses when you can sell snacks before and after school. Talks a little bit about students with dietary needs, meal charges, what our meal policy is when it comes to charges, and making sure that we are compliant with those. Those areas that are highlighted in the policy, as you can see, they've reduced some of that out of there. Part of that is absorbed in that other policy that I just mentioned. Some of the highlights that they have put, and these are OSBA recommendations for policy, those are things that the states, like the meal charges and the dietary needs, USDA seems to focus on particular areas, and those are 2 areas the past couple of years that we've seen them say, make sure you have a policy with dietary needs and you're following it, and make sure that you have a doctor's note. People may not realize this. If a child has an allergy to milk, we have to provide that alternative substitute for milk, which we're fine to do, but we have to have a doctor's note saying what that substitute is. So sometimes parents will say, my child has a milk allergy, we just want them to have water. We'd love to do that, we have to have a doctor's note, and so that's what this policy states. It's really not our rules, it is a USDA regulation. The third policy is a wellness policy, which is an update with that. Really takes some wording out and just states that we will have a wellness policy. We will make sure that it's developed with evidence-based strategies and techniques, and it again addresses the types of food and beverages that are sold during the school day, making sure that they are compliant with the regulations there. So those are the 3 bullet policies for discussion. Any discussion?
Any questions or comments for Mr. Madden?
I wonder how difficult is it for families to get that note on that alternative to the milk. Typically, they would, if they have a family physician, they would probably go there, but if they don't have a family physician, is that something that could be accommodated through the school-based health clinic?
It certainly could be. A lot of people who have allergies, most of your physicians will refer you to a specialist when it comes to the child's allergies to find out exactly what the allergy is. So I don't know if the health center can provide the specific determination on what the allergy is. My son has several allergies, and we go to an allergist who has tested him, and so that's probably what they're going to work to do if they go to the health center, is finding someone more specific on that, what that allergy is. But it could be, it's certainly a great starting point if you don't have someone in place now. And I will say, Mr. Harris, good question. You're supposed to go, if you have, serious allergies, you should be going to the doctor on an annual basis and having the dialogue with your physician or with your allergist to make sure that there's not any additional. And sometimes allergies do go away as a child develops and their schooling and get older, that allergy can be reduced greatly. Any other questions?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Madden.
Thank you.
All right, our next item for discussion, energy supplier update. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Penny.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I'm extremely excited to bring a very positive energy supplier update to you. You'll find it within your board packet, a handout. What I've done is I've outlined electricity, but also natural gas, and one of the primary focuses is going to be natural gas. Duke Energy is still our distributor of electricity as well as natural gas. There's not really an option in that, but when it comes to supply, there are many options. And what we've done is we've assessed who could give us the best rates to save us the most money. So I'll start with electricity at the top, and our current supplier is Dynegy. We've been with them since May 2017, and we were actually with them before that, but our current contract's May 2017 through May 2020. We have a fixed rate of almost 5 cents, and that rate's actually still extremely competitive, so that's a very positive thing. Just recently, we made sure that the Freshman, Central, and Compass schools were on this current agreement instead of being on the default agreement through Duke. So we're harnessing that fixed rate, and that's extremely positive. I'd like to move down to natural gas. In natural gas, we just entered into an agreement with Constellation through the OASBO program, the OASBO program, and our new rate for natural gas, which will be starting our next meter reading, is $3.27 fixed. To try to draw some comparisons, I include some charts down below that I'll go over quickly here in a moment. But just to put things, like I said, in context, our new rate will be $3.27 fixed. Our old average rate was $4.95. Okay, and that's per decatherm. We were on an adjustable rate in the past. The term for this will be February 2019 through January 2024. One of the reasons we secured it for such a long time period is because as you get out towards years 3 and 4, there's instability in the market and there's not really a strong telling of if prices are going to go up or down. Also, natural gas is used heavily with the generation of electricity at this point. So it used to be in the past, in the summertime would be a great time to go ahead and lock in rates for natural gas. At this point, because of the shift from coal and nuclear to natural gas as electricity for the generators for electricity, that's changed the game a little bit. $3.27 is an extremely aggressive rate, and it's very exciting that we've been able to secure this. What I've included below is at the very bottom, I'll go from the bottom up on these charts, July 2017 through June 2018, so our fiscal year, and I included consumption, I included the actual cost, and you'll notice above I put average rate of $5.53. During that time period, because we were on an adjustable rate, that was our average rate. So if you do the math across, you're going to find that, hey, if I do $5.53, multiply it times the consumption, it doesn't always line up across for each of those months. That's because those are the actual costs per month for that month. But the average rate of that whole year, as I said, was $5.53. I included a simulated cost next to that. So it's a different time period, different market, okay? But just so we could put things in context, if we had that new fixed rate, the $3.27 during that time period, you can see what our total cost would have been for supply. Distribution's a separate charge that I did not include on here because it's fixed and we can't do anything about it. That's what we get through our provider, which is Duke. But the comparable savings would have been $56,054, okay, during that time period. Now, to be fair, we're talking somewhat apples and oranges. I'm very open about things, only because during that time period, it's not saying that we could have secured that $3.27 rate. But I did want to put that on there just so we could look at the consumption and just look at what the simulated cost would look like. This current year, which we've been watching watching the market to figure out when the right time would be to lock in a rate. And so this year, the average cost has been $4.95 per decatherm. Okay, you can see our consumption, which our consumption is down this year, which is a great thing also. Our simulated cost, if we're on the $3.27 rate, would be a comparable savings at the point of December of $10,270. These numbers don't involve any change of behavior on our behalf as a district. It doesn't include any type of setbacks at night, things like that. These numbers and these savings are just based on the math of having a much lower rate applied, which is a very positive thing. So I'd like to open up to any questions, if there are any.
Any questions for Mr. Penny? No? Great job.
Thank you.
Next item for board discussion, High Ames Summer Institute 2019. Mrs. Wildo and Mr. Penny.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I'm going to start and share a little bit about what High Ames is and the organization, and then pass it over to Mr. Penny partway through here. So High Ames is a consortium of districts here in Southwest Ohio. It was established in 1998 by a group of 6 schools getting started together and deciding that we're better together than we are separated, even though there is some friendly competition that goes on at different times, even in the academic world. Working together is smarter than working separated. Since 1998, as of today, we are 30 strong. There's 30 school districts, really the best school districts here in Southwest Ohio, that work together to quote, create a network of leaders who inspire students and one another to be engaged and high-performing learners. So some of those districts, not going to tell you all 30, you're welcome to hop on the High Ames website and check those out, but some that might be notable to you. The Butler County Educational Service Center is a member. Butler Tech is also a member. Forest Hills, Indian Hill, Lakota, Madeira, Marymount, Mason, Milford, Oak Hills, Oakwood, a couple more, Princeton, Ross, Sycamore, and Wyoming. So you can see we're in really good company when we spend time with these districts. We collaborate with them, we learn from them. Hopefully they learn from us as well. It's a great relationship we have there with the High Ames districts. Initially, High Ames really focused in on math and science, but in 2009, we expanded our focus to include all of the core content areas. And today, High Ames is highly regarded as a provider of professional development, specifically in the areas of cultivating leadership, promoting collaboration that results in authentic learning experiences for students, and systematically supporting district efforts to create sustained innovative practice. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, is one of High Ames' premier professional development opportunities, and that's the Summer Institute. So 6 years ago, the collaborative began a Summer Institute, again, under the idea that each one of our districts are probably running summer professional development sessions. Why would we each have those efforts if we kind of put all of our eggs in one basket? Could we run something better? So we started that way. It was first at Sycamore Middle School. We had just about 250 attendees from across Southwest Ohio, and we were super excited about that. At that time, we decided we would rotate districts. Different people would host. It gives the hosting district an opportunity to show off what they have a little bit from that end of things, and bring different people into different spaces, and again, that collaboration idea, learn from each other. So Fairfield has been on the schedule for a couple of years now to host in 2019 with the intent to host at our freshman school. Over the years, we grew from being the 250-ish strong to last year. As I said, this has been a growing event. We housed over 2,000 educators at the Mason location last year. So that is what we're planning for this year, is 2,000 educators to descend here upon Fairfield. So obviously that's a little bit bigger than probably our freshman school alone could handle. So that has changed a bit in our plans. So we will use our entire high school campus along with Compass. Those 3 kind of right there will be our showcase of where we will house the High Ames Summer Institute for 2019. Charlotte McGuire has actually agreed to be one of our speakers, so I'm super excited about that. as have some of our partners that Billy mentioned. Mercy Health is going to be involved in that as well, so I'm very excited to have some of that. But to make it a super great experience for all of our participants, we do need your help, and we need help from our transportation department, and that's where Mr. Penny comes in.
Sure. Well, based on what Ms. Wildo said, with this program, there's going to be a lot of attendees. And one of the parts of that is having this be an approved program. It's crucial that this is an approved program for adult education here, so that way we can provide transportation legally for this, for transporting people from place to place. So for instance, if we have the high school, the freshman school, and campus all being used for this event, we need to have shuttles running. So we will also use Jungle Gym's parking lot, and that's something that they've agreed to. We're very, very happy about that. But with that being said, to make sure everything is done legally and correctly, we need to have this approved by the board for it to be a program. And then once it's approved as a program, we also can have you approve that we'll provide transportation. So that's something that we'll have on the next board agenda for you to review and vote on. Thank you.
Any questions?
What are the dates of the Summer Institute?
It is August 1st and 2nd. I will bring a flyer next time for each one of you, a save the date from that end of things, and we would love to have you attend as well if you are able at any time during those days. You're welcome. to
So just
attend.
2 days?
Just 2 days.
Okay.
Just 2 days, Mrs. O'Neill. Yes, 2,000 people for 2 days. Thank you. Yes.
Well, I think it's a great opportunity for us to showcase our facilities, but also host it. And as Lanny mentioned, this started in 1998 as an outgrowth of the Third International Math and Science Study, when the County Board of Education brought Dr. Bill Schmidt in from Michigan State. And that was really the seed that was planted that resulted in those original 6 districts getting involved with that. So there's quite a bit of history here in the county with that. So, and I think it's great. You know, we ought to think about just a little something about the recognition of it being the 21st year, and that this, you know, you talk about the Third International Math and Science Study. Lots of people gave it lip service and said, ooh, but at that time, there were 2 areas in the country that did anything. I think there was one in Wisconsin and in Butler County, and so I think we have to kind of go back and just provide that as some promotional information, and, you know, how did we get here?
The executive director of High Ames right now is Kelly Spivey, so she's a Butler County kind of native as well from that end of things. That's where she was the superintendent of Talawanda, so she's
But that-
close to us.
That
from
first
end of things,
presentation
yeah.
was done at an all-county boards meeting where all the school districts and boards and their superintendents and treasurers were present, so, you know, it's good to see.
Good, good. Good
And
thought.
it's August 1st and 2nd?
Correct.
From, what's the time again?
Usually we run like 8 to 3, and so I'm assuming that we will do the same thing this year. We haven't made the final schedule yet.
I am concerned about parking, but I guess we could use overflow, because I think we have band camp for like a 350-piece band program.
That's a great point. Our facilities and our administrators, everybody has been super gracious about this and realizes that it's an all-team effort from that end of things. So band camp has been moved, and so they have worked that out. Our athletics, everything has been moved except for volleyball, and Mr. Harden and I have worked out a location for him to be able to take care of that in the evenings from that end of things. So, like I said, everybody, our administrators have blocked out those dates. I'm super happy about that. We've had teachers already volunteer to set up, tear down, that kind of thing. So people, I think, are really excited that we'll get to do something as big as this.
Okay. Mr. Begley? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing the information next time.
Next, we have intervention specialist at Compass Elementary. I'll turn it over to Mr. Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. We spent quite a bit of time tonight talking about compliance in several areas, and this is another compliance issue. Our number of students who are on individualized education plans continues to grow. Throughout the year, we have new students move in who are currently on plans, and then we identify other students that need to be placed on plans. And so our numbers change throughout the year. There is a compliance issue. The state limits the number of students that an intervention specialist can have on their caseload. And at Compass, we are now over. We just identified a student, so we're one over. Kathy Gilbert has worked to address that. We would just like to ask your blessing this evening. She does have federal funds available to pay for that person for the remainder of the year. So we're looking for your blessing to fill that need and stay in compliance within our special education department. I also want to mention there are 2 other schools that are right at the limit as well. We won't add anybody until we have to, but when we get that one student over, then we would be looking to add in those places as well.
Comments or questions? It's always good to be compliant.
It's good to be compliant, I agree.
Thank you, Mr. Murray.
Thank you.